Hello, welcome to another episode of Messy Magic. I'm your host, Nadee Guy, and I'm so happy to be with you here today because it has been, like 2 months or something since I recorded a podcast. So this is really exciting. This is the very start of PODMAS, which is my annual tradition that I created a couple of years ago to try and do a daily podcast episode in December leading up to Christmas. Quite honestly, it's just a structure that I want to use to give myself the motivation and inspiration to record episodes and to not overthink, because I'm a chronic overthinker. And that's also why the work that I do in like somatic coaching, feminine embodiment coaching, has been so beneficial to me because it allows me to use my my body's wisdom as opposed to constantly being in my head. So I will mention before I go too much further that I'm recording this on video, as well as launching it as a podcast, just as a little trial. I'm going to give it a try today and see how it goes. And I'm going to, if you would like to watch the videos, I'm going to put them on my Substack. So I will put a link to that in the show notes of this podcast episode so that you can go and check that out if you want. But basically, I'm sitting in my car on the side of the road to give you this little update. And that's kind of the flavor of this series of PODMAS. It's about off the cuff, voice notes from a friend, what I'm thinking about today, what I'm learning today, things that have been going through my mind that I really want to share, things I've been learning, and also things that I think are supportive for us at this time of year, leaning into, my training, my life experience, but also just my daily life and like musings and my little world in my head. And sharing things with you that might help you to celebrate the mess in your life, might help you to dig deeper and feel into the magic that is in your life that you might not otherwise have really been thinking about. And today, I feel like a big theme for me at the moment actually is magic and trust, and kind of knowing that things are happening for me for a reason, and that the universe has my back. And I continually receive evidence of this. And there are some big things going on in my life that are challenging at the moment, to be honest, and it's really hard to have trust. So, like getting the little signs that, reinforce that it's okay to trust the universe are really helpful. And so that's the main thing I wanted to share with you today, is to just look for little pieces of evidence that things are working out for you. And the one example for me that comes to mind, there's a couple actually, but the one very, very current one is actually how I came to be sitting here. I'm on my way to catch up with one of my best friends. We're doing, we've got a day together that I've been so excited about for a couple of weeks. She has her own business as well. And so we're coming together to do a little bit of masterminding together and brainstorming and planning and just to catch up as well. Like, we don't live in the same town, so I've just driven a couple of hours to get here. So I'm super excited about this. But as I was driving, I realized again, it's PODMAS today, so I need to find time to record an episode. And I had this vision of just pulling over at the side of the road before I get to her house. And then I kind of forgot about it. I was listening to podcast episodes on the way here, so I got back into those. And then I was so into the podcast, and I hadn't really thought about where I was going to pull over. I'd briefly thought there's not really anywhere kind of near her place. She lives on a really steep hill, so I didn't really want to park the car and do it there. Anyway, had kind of in my mind I'd like it to be kind of leafy and yeah, like just a nice little quiet spot. Anyway, I was listening to this podcast. It was Amanda Frances' podcast, who I've been following for years and years, and just decided to listen to a podcast episode of hers that I haven't listened to for ages. And I was so in depth, like my mind was so engrossed listening to her and thinking that I missed my turn. And all of a sudden I had to find a spot to turn around. And I turned down this little street, and right there, right here, is this tiny little cul-de-sac where it's perfect for me to pull over. There's no one driving past. There's no one walking past. There's no distractions. It's a great spot for me to quickly record this episode. And I just, as I drove around, I just felt like this is the perfect spot. This was meant to be, you know, I was meant to miss that turn and have this perfect little spot. And that is such a tiny example. But to me, those little examples are the ones that really add up to mean trust in the universe. And the two, you know, if you know me, then you know that I'm into energetics and manifestation and spirituality. And anyway, the two podcast episodes that I've been listening to are the Amanda Frances one that I mentioned, and a To Be Magnetic podcast episode, which was great to listen to because I had a long drive, and those are long episodes. And they were talking a lot about trust as well. So it's a really big theme for me. I didn't deliberately seek out a podcast episode about trust, but that's what they were talking about. So that's what it was. And then the other thing is that the Amanda Frances episode that I listened to just happened to be, she's talking a lot about her journey with content and how she has always just shared like what has been going on for her, what she's doing in life and business, what's working. And that's been the idea for my approach as well for a really long time. And so I can she's an expander for me. I can relate to her in terms of like wanting, that's what I want to create for you. I want you to feel like you're receiving these notes from me. And they're just genuine, this is what's going on for me, this is what I'm learning, and this is what I'm experiencing, and hopefully you might be able to learn something and feel inspired or motivated along the way as well. But one of the other things that she mentioned is talking about her mastermind. And obviously if you know her, she's at a really high level and charging multiple thousands of dollars per month for a mastermind. But I have actually been considering setting up a new mastermind for really for coaching clients who are kind of coming to the end of their packages. And it will be on a much, much smaller scale. But just the fact that that was a topic of the episode, and it's something that has been crossing my mind lately, also felt very synchronistic and supportive to me. So look at that. I'm already at nearly 9 minutes. This is longer than I expected it to be. But welcome to PODMAS. This is this is along the lines of what it's going to be. It's like what I'm doing today, what I'm thinking today, and how can I share with you something that might either inspire you or motivate you or expand you, or just support you in your life and or your business, to really help grow the collective. I'm so passionate about this idea of a rising tide lifting all boats, and that we're all in it together. So I plan to be with you here for the next 24, 25 days, No doubt I'll miss a day here and there, as always happens, but I will do my best. That's what being messy and accepting the mess is all about. It's doing your best and then, you know, accepting the parts that don't work out for the best and figuring out what to learn from it, and just looking for the magic that's in there. So I hope you enjoyed this little snippet. I'll be back with you again tomorrow. And in the meantime, I hope you have a magical day.